Part 47. After wearing the book, I became the group favorite. Author, Little Ginger. Chapter 461. Chapter 461 Chapter 461 Madman. Nangzi Yuan. Zhang Xiao was asleep when he was woken up by the ringing of the phone. With a thick nasal voice, he asked, "What's wrong, sister?" 11 Xiao, is it convenient for you to come to Chengdu now? Mo Zhangxiang didn't want to call Zhang Xiao to Chengdu at this time. She had predicted the shareholders who supported her. She didn't expect their reaction to be so big, and she was afraid of her. He was dying, so he wanted to see Zhang Xiaoxi. After all, Zhang Xiaoxiao had Fu Jianxiu as his back. Okay, without asking for any reason, Zhang Shi turned over and got up. He glanced around the room and didn't see Fu Jianxiu, so he opened the door and went out. "Xiao Xiao, ask Fu Jianxiu to come with you, don't come by yourself." Mo Zhangxiang was worried that Zhang Xiao would be eaten by those shareholders. Okay, after Zhang Xiaoxiao had a phone call with Mo Zhangxiang, he booked the fastest flight ticket to Chengdu on his mobile phone. She trotted to the study to look for Fu Jianxiu, but Fu Jianxiu was not in the study and couldn't find anyone. She had to go downstairs to look for him. She walked around the hall and saw no one, not even the servants at home. She frowned and went to the garden, thinking that if she didn't see Fu Jianxiu in the garden, she would go to Rongcheng first. Be careful. As soon as Zhang Xiao walked into the garden, a figure rushed toward her quickly, followed by Butler Zhu's nervous voice. Everything happened so fast that she didn't have time to react, and she was knocked to the ground. His head hit the ground, and Zhang Xiao's eyes flashed with stars. There was a burst of noise next to her, and a woman's roar was particularly abrupt. "Let me go, you are breaking the law. You guys are all lawless elements, and I want to sue you." She, Zhang, has been a shameless woman since she was a child. She was the one who seduced Fu Jianxiu. What a shameless person. I want to tell the media that I want Zhang Xiaoxiao to be despised by the world, and women like her to be condemned to death. Why are you still standing there? Why don't you arrest this woman and send her to a lunatic asylum? "Xiao Xiao, can you still stand up?" Aunt Zhang's nervous voice sounded in Zhang Xiao's ears. Zhang Xiao sat on the ground for a while, calming down for a minute before replying, "Aunt Zhang, I'm fine, you don't have to worry." After saying that, he stood up. "Are you sure you're okay? Are you feeling uncomfortable in your stomach? Let's go to the hospital." Aunt Zhang looked nervous. The woman had hit her heart just now, and she was afraid something might happen to Zhang Xiaoxi. Zhang Xiao stood by himself and felt the changes in his body. There was indeed nothing uncomfortable. He smiled and replied, "Aunt Zhang, there is really nothing uncomfortable about me. You don't have to worry. Where did Uncle Wu go, do you know? Fifth Master has something to do at the company, but he will be back soon." Aunt Zhang still looked at her whole body with uneasy eyes. Zhang Xiaoxiao frowned slightly. "Aunt Zhang, I'm going to Rongcheng now. You wait for Uncle Wu to come back and tell him I'm waiting for him in Rongcheng." "You are going to Rongcheng now? Why is it so urgent? Can't you tell me when the fifth master comes back?" Aunt Zhang didn't want her to have to explain it to Fu Jianxiu when he came back. "Well, I have to leave now. Uncle Wang is here. Please ask her to drive me to the airport." Zhang Xiao did not go to sort out the mess and prepared to leave the garden. "Uncle Wang is here, I'll ask him to drive the car out." Aunt Zhang knew that she couldn't persuade her, so she might as well let her go. End of this chapter. After wearing the book, I became the group favorite. Author, Little Ginger. Chapter 462. Chapter 462 Chapter 462 A pain in my head. Aunt Zhang went to find the driver. Zhang Xiao patted the dirt on his body and prepared to leave. "Zhang Xiao, you bitch, you have no shame. Zhang Xiaoxiao didn't want to pay attention to the woman at first, but he stopped when he heard her words and stared at the woman with sharp eyes. If you are sick, go get treatment. The woman's dirty face and bloodshot eyes looked at Zhang Xiaoxi ferociously. It's all because of you, Zhang Xiaoxi. They want to send me to a lunatic asylum. What did I do wrong? You were the one who seduced Fu Xiu. Why should I be locked up? Why should I be locked up? Zhang Xiao lowered her beautiful eyebrows and stared at the woman with a ferocious face. Only the doctor knows whether you are sick or not, but judging from your current condition, you really need to see a doctor. I want to sue you. You are breaking the law. What are you doing here? Why don't you drag people down? Butler Zhu directed. I won't leave, I won't leave. Zhang Xiao watched the woman being pulled away, walked forward with indifferent eyes, and told Butler Zhu, in the future, people like this will be dealt with, and things like just now will not happen again. On the way to the airport, Zhang Xiaoxiao called Zhao Huiyan. Uncle Zhao, are you still filming in Chengdu? Zhao Huiyan has just finished filming her last scene and is about to leave for country B to participate in the fashion week. What's wrong with being in Chengdu? I'm going to Rongchen now. Uncle Zhao, come and pick me up. Uncle Wu hasn't come back from the company yet, so I'll go first, Zhang Xiaoxi explained. Little ancestor, what are you doing in Chengdu again? Zhao Huiyan was actually a little afraid now that she would say she was coming to Chengdu. The last time she came to Chengdu, the baby in her belly was almost gone, and he was almost gone too. Let's go to Mo's. They know the news about my sister's injury. They need to see me to feel at ease, otherwise they won't support my sister. Zhang Xiaoxiao asked Mo Zhangxiang what happened when he was on the way. Zhao Huiyan's head got big when he heard that she was going to Mo's. Now he suddenly wanted An Nangxuan to appear in front of him and ask An Nangxuan to accompany Zhang Xiaoxiao. Oh my god! Why is his life so miserable? Whenever something happens to this girl recently, something bad will definitely happen. What time will the plane arrive? I'll pick you up. Zhao Huiyan felt bitter, but that person was Zhang Xiaoxiao, and he would definitely pick her up. When the agent heard that he was going to pick up someone at the airport, he called the organizer with tears in his eyes and told the organizer that he might not be able to go to the fashion week. We'll arrive at 7 o'clock in the evening. We'll go directly to Mo's Uncle Zhao. Halfway through Zhang Xiao's words, his head hurt, his vision was not clear, and intense sweat broke out on his forehead. Miss, are you okay? Are you feeling unwell? Should we go to the hospital? The driver asked with concern when he saw Zhang Xiao's pale face through the rear-view mirror. Zhang Xiao shook his head twice and waited for me for a while, waiting for the pain to subside. It's okay, the air is a bit stuffy. Please open the car window. Miss, it will be very cold if you open the car window and it is still snowing outside. You will catch a cold if you do this. The driver is a very caring person. Zhang Xiaoxiao leaned on the car seat and closed his eyes. Zhao Huiyan's worried voice came from the phone. Xiaoxiao, if you don't feel well, don't come to Chengdu. If you have any problems, your fifth uncle will help you solve it. It's okay, Uncle Zhao, don't worry too much. Zhang Xiaoxiao comforted Zhao Huiyan and hung up the phone. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After wearing the book, I became the group favorite. Author, Little Ginger. Chapter 463. Chapter 463. Chapter 463. Bai Yueguang is back again. Zhang Xiaoxiao hung up the phone call from Zhao Huiyan like this, which made Zhao Huiyan even more uneasy. His eyelids never stopped beating. He was completely uneasy and said to the agent next to him, "Let's go to the airport now." Agent. When Zhang was in the car, she could bear the pain in her head, but when she got on the plane, she couldn't bear the headache at all. The pain made her huddle up, which frightened the stewardess. "Miss, how are you doing, miss?" "I'm fine." Zhang Xiaoxiao bit his lips and teeth and turned white, and his whole little face was completely drained of color. Looking at her like this, the flight attendant didn't believe that she was okay. She immediately ran to tell the captain and asked if there was a doctor on board. Zhang Xiao grabbed her hand with his hand and said, "I'm fine, don't worry. But I feel very uncomfortable looking at you." The stewardess would not listen to her. Ah! Zhang had a severe pain in her head when she was young. It was beyond the range she could bear, and she curled up on the airplane seat. This incident frightened the flight attendant, who immediately reported the incident to the captain and immediately broadcast the news that Zhao was looking for a doctor on the plane. Fortunately, there happened to be a doctor on the plane. The doctor came to see Zhang Xiao and conducted a series of examinations on Zhang Xiao. Just as he was about to take medicine, Zhang Xiao suddenly woke up. His face was still very pale, and he weakly said to the doctor, "I'm fine, I just had the same headache as usual." The doctor still checked her uneasily and made sure she was fine before leaving. When leaving, he also told her to go to the hospital for a checkup. Zhang Xiao responded one by one. After the stewardess and the doctor left, Zhang Xiao took a big drink of water to calm himself down. His face was not very good. Bai Yueguang actually occupied her body for many days this time. She actually accepted the memories of those years when Miss Bai Yueguang was lying there. The boss was so perverted that he sealed Bai Yueguang's body in the ice pavilion and was thinking of ways to survive Miss Bai Yueguang. If you try to live a dead person, you can imagine that the boss is completely crazy. And why was her body occupied by Miss Bai Yueguang again this time? Will this happen again in the future? Garbage system, come out! Zhang Xiaoxiao was really panicking. If Miss Bai Yueguang would come back, would she be sent back, or would she become a soul without a home? The garbage system responded very quickly this time, "The host is here." Zhang Xiao did not get angry. This time he asked in a good temper, "Miss Bai Yueguang is back again. You know, I just want to know, what will I do?" Garbage system, host, don't worry, I will not let Bai Yueguang take over your body. I am the one who summoned you back this time. Why is this happening? She didn't disappear. My appearance meant that I took over her body. Why on earth is that? Zhang Xiaoxiao really wanted to go back. She was like a thief who had taken over Bai Yueguang's body, and fell in love with Fu Jianxiu. Garbage system, host, I have responded to the above. Only the above knows the specific reason. The above has not given me a reply, and I have no way to answer you. What I can assure you now is that there will be no whitewash for the time being. The moonlight takes over the body. For the time being, Zhang Xiaoxi said that he could not accept this answer. If Bai Yueguang was alive, he would return her body to her. End of this chapter. After wearing the book, I became the group favorite. Author, Little Ginger. Chapter 464. Chapter 464. Chapter 464. Feeling sour inside. Zhang Xiao felt like she was communicating with this garbage system in vain again. Whenever she talked about it, it had to respond to the higher UPS. Who knew if it was trying to fool her? If she comes back this time, please tell me and send me back. Zhang Xiaoxiao was really tired and came here inexplicably. Unlike other book wearers who have reached the peak of their lives, even she herself, the Lord, has not left yet. Garbage system, host, I apologize to you. 120,000 points here, and I will compensate you. Zhang Xiao no longer wanted to talk to it and remained silent. No matter how much she talked, it would never tell her the truth. Miss, would you like a hot drink? The flight attendant's soft voice made Zhang Xiao open his eyes and nodded with a very tired expression. The flight attendant thoughtfully served her a hot drink. Miss, if you still feel uncomfortable, please remember to call me. Thank you. Zhang Xiaoxiao took a sip of the hot drink in his hand, found the most comfortable position to lean against, and closed his eyes briefly as he thought about what he saw. Bai Yueguang was lying in the ice coffin, and the boss would come to talk to her every day. The affection in his eyes made him choke when he spoke. You don't need to look, just listen to know how deep the emotion is. Zhang Xiao felt sour in her heart when she thought about it. She found that the relationship between the boss and Bai Yueguang could not be replaced by anyone. Now Bai Yueguang is likely to come back. What should she do? She was very entangled in her heart. How much she hoped at this time I am a woman with a rich love history, so I would not be in such a predicament. 2 hours later, the plane arrived in Chengdu. Zhang Xiao took the VIP passage and went directly to the parking lot to find Zhao Huiyan's car. As soon as he got in the car and sat down, there was a big palm on his forehead, and his tone was full of worry. When you are young, why do you look so bad? Are you feeling uncomfortable there? It's okay. Zhang Xiao tilted his head to the side. Zhao Huiyan took her hand back, worry written all over her face. It's okay, but your face is still so bad. Have you eaten? After eating, Uncle Zhao, I'm a little tired and want to rest for a while. You called me when we arrived at Mo Group. After Zhang Xiao finished speaking, he leaned on the car chair and closed his eyes to rest. Zhao Huiyan saw that her mood was completely wrong, but she did not bother her. Instead, she sent a message to Fu Chenxiu. Boss, did you quarrel with me again? No. Fu Chenxiu was on the private plane, frowning as he replied to the message. His relationship with the little girl was getting better, so how could they quarrel? The little girl is not in a very high mood, and her face is a bit ugly. She looks very worried. The boss asked me to tell you to send Mo Ziyuan indirectly, so as to avoid the little girl coming. Zhao Huiyan did not mention Mo Ziyuan at all. Ziyuan took it seriously. In his opinion, as long as Mo Ziyuan was solved, Zhang Xiaoxiu's family feud would be avenged. Why bother to make it so troublesome? And there are so many public opinions on the internet. Don't let the little girl enter the Mo family before I come, Fu Chenxiu warned. Zhao Huiyan immediately replied to him, Boss, your little girl, do you think she listens to what I say? She doesn't even listen to what you say, let alone mine. Boss can't complete this task. Then protect her and don't let anyone bully her. Boss, if I'm standing there as a big person, how can I let people bully our girl and treat her like a decoration? Zhao Huiyan said. Zhao Huiyan put away her mobile phone and glanced at Zhang Xiaoxi, who had his eyes closed and was concentrating, and frowned slightly. End of this chapter. After wearing the book, I became the group favorite. Author, Little Ginger. Chapter 465. Chapter 465. Chapter 465. Aura. Mr. Zhao, Mo's group is here. The agent parked the car smoothly on the side of Mo's road and called Zhao Huiyan. Before Zhao Huiyan opened her eyes, Zhang Xiao had already opened them. He glanced at the Mo building outside the car window, frowned, opened the door and got out of the car. Zhao Huiyan hurriedly followed. When I'm young, wait for Uncle Zhao. Zhang Xiao suddenly stopped and turned to look at Zhao Huiyan. Uncle Zhao, how do I look now? Zhao Huiyan is a bit bad. Zhang Xiao lowered his eyebrows when he heard his answer, turned around and walked back into the car. He glanced at his face through the rearview mirror and asked the agent sitting in the driver's seat, is there any lipstick in the car? Yes, in the row of seats at the back. Zhang Xi's eyes turned to the back seat and saw a large makeup box. He went over to open the makeup box. Originally he just wanted to put on lipstick, but when he saw that all the cosmetics were complete, he simply painted one for himself. Makeup, be a little more sassy. Zhao Huiyan followed back and saw Zhang Xiao putting on makeup. He couldn't help but smile. He also asked what the little girl was doing when she came back. It turned out that she was putting on makeup, so it was easier for him to delay waiting for Fu Chenxiu to come. Half an hour later, Zhang Xiaoxiao put on makeup and put on a red lipstick. His cold eyes were exactly the same as Fu Jianxiu's. Just standing there, his aura could make people surrender. Zhao Huiyan has already sighed in her heart for the nth time. Sure enough, she was raised by someone, and she has exactly the same aura. When Zhang Xiao walked into the MO building, the receptionist mistook her for MO Zhangxiang. "Miss, are you okay?" "I am Zhang Shi." The front desk lady's pupils shrank in surprise. "Ms. Zhang, the shareholders are waiting for you in the conference room on the 10th floor." Zhang Xiaoxiao walked toward the elevator, and Zhao Huiyan naturally followed behind. As soon as Zhang Xiaoxiao left, the front desk lady came to her senses and immediately called the 10th floor to tell them that Zhang Xiaoxi was here. "Xiaomin, I feel like Mo's family is really going to change," another front desk lady said. Xiaomin hung up the phone and nodded in agreement. "I also think the Mo family is going to change. I thought the news on the internet was fake. But when I saw the real person today, it was exactly the same as the airborne Miss Mo. Tell me, what is said on the internet is true? Mr. Mo really killed his younger brother. This Mo family originally belonged to Mo Kongming. The two sisters came back for revenge." Xiaomin covered her little sister's mouth with her hand and said nervously, "Don't say this nonsense. Be careful, if you say the wrong thing, your life will be lost. Rich families are more complicated than we think." "I understand, Xiaomin, please let me go first." Xiaomin nervously let her go and warned her again, "Stop talking nonsense, you know." "Well, I know. I didn't say it in front of other people. Aren't I telling you this? Mr. Mo didn't even attend today's shareholders meeting. Will this Miss Zhang really come to replace Mr. Mo? And did you see it? Behind her is the actor Zhao Huiyan, who is really handsome." "Xiaomin. Okay, stop guessing. We'll just wait and see the results. No matter who Mo replaces, as long as it doesn't affect my salary." "Xiaomin, can we not be so obsessed with money?" "Cannot." End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After wearing the book, I became the group favorite. Author, Little Ginger. Chapter 466. Chapter 466. Chapter 466. Jackals, Tigers, and Leopards. When Zhang Xiao walked to the door of the conference room, she took a deep breath. She had never had such an experience. As long as she entered, she would face a group of jackals, tigers, and leopards. Even then, she could not back down. She was helping Bye-Bye Miss Moonlight, that's why she put on makeup just now to boost her aura. "Child, if you're scared, we can wait for your fifth uncle to come and go in," Zhao Huiyan suggested, looking at her nervous face. When Zhang Xiaoxiao knew that Fu Jianxiu was back together, Bai Yueguang had many memories of getting along with the big boss these days. She admired Bai Yueguang for being able to openly admit that she liked Fu Jianxiu in front of the old man, and not only that, but also for letting the old man accept them. She also withstood the rumors on the internet that Bai Yueguang was better than her. Zhang Xiao stayed outside for a few minutes to make up her mind, and then opened the door of the conference room. When she opened the door, more than a dozen pairs of eyes in the conference room were staring at her. Zhang Xiaoxiao suddenly felt stressed. She had no choice but to bite the bullet. She walked to the empty seat left for her and sat down, waiting for those people to speak. "Miss Zhang, you should know why we called you here." An older-looking man looked at Zhang Xiao. Zhang Shi's eyes fell on the man and said, "What Mo Zhangxiang gave her, I know why you called me here. My sister asked me to tell you that she will be discharged from the hospital soon, and she will be discharged soon. I will take over the Mo family, so you don't have to worry too much. She was injured and hospitalized, but she hid it. Her behavior made us feel very uneasy. Miss Zhang, You have to know that although we are shareholders and have certain rights to make decisions, if Miss Mo's ability is not good, we cannot take Mo's to reach a higher level, we will not support her. The man said it very bluntly. Zhang Xiaoxi glanced at all the people sitting here with an indifferent expression. These people said they supported Mo Zhangxiang. In fact, they just stood by whoever gave them the most benefits. If Mo Zhangxiang can't lead now, giving them benefits, she believed that these people would never appear here again. The problem you are worried about will not arise. As for the concealment of the injury, you said, in fact, it was not concealed from you at all. From the time it happened, my sister was in a coma for the past few days. Even if she wanted to contact you, she would still contact you. If not, how can I say I'm hiding it from you? Zhang Xiaoxi answered their questions fluently. Zhang Xiaoxi's words also made the person who asked the question silent for a while, and another person spoke. Now that Mo Zhangxiang is sick, who will manage the projects in her hands? We don't want all of these projects to rot in her hands. The projects currently in the hands of Mr. Mo are going smoothly and can bring great benefits to the company. Zhang Shixiao's dark eyes were half squinted as he looked at the man who asked the question. Sure enough, as Mo Zhangxiang said, someone would really make an issue of the project. I will take over all the projects in my sister's hands. As for you, the projects in Mo Ziwiyuan's hands have brought benefits to the company. Sorry, I haven't seen it. So far, the projects in his hands have been losses. My sister will send the information to you immediately. As soon as Zhang Xiao finished speaking, the computer in front of them rang. It was the sound of an email. The man who had just spoken to Zhang Xiao opened the email with an ugly expression on his face. End of this chapter. After wearing the book, I became the group favorite. Author, Little Ginger. Chapter 467. Chapter 467. Chapter 467. The project is carried out by Fujinexiu. The content of the email was about Mo Ziwiyuan's recent project, which clearly recorded the project's losses, while Mo Zhangxiang's projects have all been profitable so far, forming a contrast between the two. More than a dozen people looked bad after reading the content of the email. The entire conference room was silent for several minutes before someone spoke again. You said you took over the project from Mo Zhangxiang, but according to our understanding, you are still here. If you study, you have no ability to manage a company. This is very straightforward. I just don't believe Zhang Xiao, who would foolishly hand over the company to a person with no management experience. When they supported Mo Zhangxiang, it was because she worked beside Fujinexiu and had the ability to do so. It is also very strong, and Mo's also needs fresh blood. Zhang knew when he was young that they would not believe in him, and there was no big change in his expression at all. I know that you don't believe in my abilities, and I don't believe in my own abilities either. After all, it's just like what you said. I'm still studying and I don't have the ability to manage such a large company. You don't have to worry about that. My sister has left several very capable people in the company, and they will work on the project under my sister's arrangement. Under your sister's guidance, what should we do if Mo Zhangxiang never gets better? Nanren said deliberately. Zhang Xiao raised his eyebrows and looked at the person who was deliberately looking for trouble. My sister is awake now, but she just can't go to work, so the problem you are worried about will not happen. What we focus on is the later stage of the project. If Mo Zhangxiang really can't get up, how will you be responsible? It's better to leave it to Mr. Mo for planning and management now. Zhang Xiao curled his lips with a sneer. He was waiting for her here and actually asked her to hand over the project. Did he really think that she was a high school student and had no brains? It is impossible to teach Mo Ziwiyuan. I can't teach you the project. How can you give up this idea? If you don't want to hand over the project, you must find someone we all agree with to complete the project. More than a dozen people are silent. You look at me, I look at you. No matter who takes over these projects now, it is difficult to say that there will be no mistakes. A team without a leader is just a mess. It doesn't matter if the candidate is not good or bad. Select. So, Miss Zhang, who is the candidate in your mind, you can tell me and I will refer to it. Zhang Xiaoxiao looked at the man with squinted eyes, and raised his thin lips. The person I chose is only Fu Jianxiu. You should also know that I was adopted by the Fu family, so I asked my fifth uncle for this little thing, and he would still do it. Promise me. The man fell silent immediately. There was no reason to shirk Fu Jianxiu and the others. After all, no one doubted Fu Jianxiu's ability. Several projects in his hands are expected to generate considerable income. Ms. Zhang, although we know that you were adopted by the Fu family, are you sure you can ask Fu Jianxiu to do it? Fu Jianxiu's mobile phone is not just a flower of the high mountain, just ask it if you want. I can. I took over all the projects from Mo Zhangxiang. I don't know if you are satisfied with it. Fu Jianxiu didn't know when he came, and he approached Zhang Xiaoxiao step by step. Zhang Xiao watched him getting closer and closer to her, and felt even more sour and uncomfortable. End of this chapter. After wearing the book, I became the group favorite. Author, Little Ginger. Chapter 468. Chapter 468. Chapter 468. The obsession is so deep. When everyone saw Fu Jianxiu appear, the aggressive aura just now seemed to be gone. Their purpose was to let Fu Jianxiu come out. With him, even a loss-making project would become a profit-making project. Fu Jianxiu swept his eyes across the crowd, and then landed on Zhang Xiaoxi's face. Although the little girl had put on makeup, he could still tell that she was not in a good mood and was very worried. The most important thing was that she saw him appear. The eyes did not stay on him. Mr. Fu, of course it's best if you take over. The man who was the first to speak to Zhang Xiaoxi replied with a smile. Fu Jianxiu glanced at these people with cold eyes, and said in a cold voice, "Since you have no objections, today's meeting will end here." Everyone looked at each other, stood up and left the conference room. Fu Jianxiu, Zhang Xiaoxiao and Zhao Huiyan were the only ones left in the huge conference room. Zhao Huiyan also wanted to leave, but her clothes were held by Zhang Xiaoxiao, so she couldn't leave. She could only look at Fu Jianxiu bitterly. "Boss Tiandi Kijian, it's not that I want to stay, it's the little girl who is holding me and not letting me go." Although Zhao Huiyan looked at Fu Jianxiu pitifully, she still accepted Fu Jianxiu's condensation. Zhao Huiyan had no choice but to save herself. She turned to look at Zhang Xiaoxi and said with a strong desire to survive, "Xiao Xiao, Uncle Zhao has to go back to filming, so he can't stay here for too long." Zhang Xiao just didn't know how to get along with Fu Jianxiu. Bai Yueguang was with him the past few days. Now that she is back, her mood is a bit complicated, so she doesn't want to let Zhao Huiyan go. "Uncle Zhao, it's not the first day that you have been unprofessional." Zhao Huiyan. Is he always dedicated to his job? Isn't it because of her recent lack of dedication? Xiaoxi, this is the last scene. It's not good if you don't go. You don't want Uncle Zhao to be blackmailed by the whole internet, Zhao Huiyan said as she spread Zhang Xiao's fingers. As soon as Zhang Xiaoxi let go of his hand, Zhao Huiyan ran away. "Boss, I'll be here first." As soon as Zhao Huiyan left, they were the only two people left in the conference room. "Are you feeling uncomfortable?" Fu Jianxiu had already walked up to her and placed his big palm on her forehead. The warmth of his big palm penetrated the skin and entered the texture. Zhang Xiaoxiu's eyes suddenly became moist for some reason, and his voice was muffled, "Uncle Wu." Yes, Fu Jianxiu hugged the person into his arms. "Fifth uncle, I want to go back to Nangzi courtyard," Zhang Xiaoxiao said, biting the corner of his lip. "Good." Fu Jianxiu held Zhang Xiaoxiao in his arms and carried her upstairs. The helicopter stopped at the top floor. "Uncle Wu, I don't want to take a plane. Zhang Xiao didn't want to go into a confined space like a plane now. Good. Fu Chenxiao carried her downstairs again, calling Zhao Huiyan on the way and asking him to drive his car back. Zhang Xiao was sitting in the car, still nestled in Fu Chenxiao's arms. Fifth uncle. Fifth uncle. Zhang Xiao called Fu Chenxiao countless times before he finally said, "Fifth uncle, who am I?" Fu Chenxiao's black pupils shrank slightly, his big palm stroked her soft hair, and his voice was gentle, "I know who you are. Uncle Wu, who do you love?" "I love you," Fu Chenxiao replied. Zhang Xiaoxiao's heart shrank suddenly. Did he know who she was? Does he love her? So Baiyu Eguang? It's impossible for Fu Chenxiao to let go of Baiyu Eguang so much because he loves Baiyu Eguang so much. Fu Chenxiao's obsession with Baiyu Eguang is so deep. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After wearing the book, I became the group favorite. Author, Little Ginger. Chapter 469. Chapter 469. Chapter 469. Do you choose me or her? Xiao Xiao, don't doubt Uncle Wu. The person Wu uncle loves is you, and don't think about it. Fu Chenxiao's mellow and magnetic voice sounded in Zhang Xiaoxi's ears. Zhang nestled in Fu Chenxiao's arms when he was a child, his eyelids were slightly lowered, and his teeth were biting his lips until they turned white. He knew everything, so during the few days when Baiyu Eguang was around, they did such intimate things. Fifth uncle, who will you choose between me and her? Zhang Xiaoxiao didn't know what was wrong, but he suddenly wanted to compare with Baiyu Eguang and wanted Fu Chenxiao to make a choice. Fu Chenxiao stared at Zhang Xiaoxi with deep eyes, and answered Zhang Xiaoxi without any hesitation, "Choose you." "Uncle Wu, did you know it was her a few days ago?" Zhang Xiao asked again nervously. "Yeah. I know." "Then you still choose me?" Zhang Xiao asked a little uneasily. "Choose you." When Zhang Xiao heard this, she hugged Fu Chenxiao even more tightly. No matter whether this was a lie to her, she believed it to be true. The darkness in her heart crawled out. She wanted Baiyu Eguang to never come back. There was no need to go back. She didn't want to go back, she wanted to be with him forever, even if she was living in a book. "Fifth uncle, I'm scared." Zhang Xiaoxi grasped Fu Chenxiao's clothes tightly with both hands. "Don't be afraid, I'm here." Fu Chenxiao gave her the greatest comfort. Zhang Xiao was really scared. She was afraid that Baiyu Eguang would suddenly appear and not leave. She was afraid that she would never see Fu Chenxiao again. She was afraid that after Baiyu Eguang came back, if he died, would Fu Chenxiao live as she saw? Painful, she didn't want him to live in pain, she wanted him to live happily. Zhang Xiaoxiao's little body was trembling, Fu Chenxiao's eyelids were half draped, and his big palm gently stroked her back, trying to soothe her restless heart. "Uncle Wu, I don't want to leave you." Zhang Xiao said what he wanted to say the most. "I won't leave. Uncle Wu will always be there. No matter where you are, Uncle Wu can find you." Fu Chenxiao's voice was like magic, dispelling the fear in Zhang Xiaoxi's heart. "If you can't find your own when you leave him, it's because they are not from the same world at all." "Fifth uncle. Host, stop the car quickly, it's dangerous." The sound of the garbage system suddenly appeared at this time. Zhang Xiaoxiao's nerves became tense. "Danger, what danger? Didn't you upgrade? You can know the danger in advance. Why are you so urgent this time?" The garbage system did not expect that she just went to the headquarters, and when she came back, she found danger lurking around her. If Zhang Xiao knew that it was his work error, he might have to spurn it. "Host, it's too late to explain, get out of the car quickly, this time it is life-threatening." Once Zhang Xiao heard that his life was in danger, He didn't have time to argue with the garbage system as to why it was only notifying him now. He shouted in a loud voice, "Stop the car." The driver stepped on the brakes almost at the same time as shouting to stop, and the car stopped unevenly on the side of the road. Zhang Xiao was protected by Fu Jianxiu in his arms, and was not affected. He said to Fu Jianxiu in a panic, "Fifth uncle, get out of the car, is it in danger?" Fu Jianxiu held Zhang Xiaoxi in his arms, his handsome face became terrifyingly serious. "Xiaoxi, don't move." Zhang Xiao lay motionless in Fu Jianxiu's arms, and the ticking sound could be heard in the silent car. End of this chapter. After wearing the book, I became the group favorite. Author, Little Ginger. Chapter 470. Chapter 470. Chapter 470. Why can't you look at me? When Zhang Xiaoxiao heard the ticking sound, his face instantly turned pale, his pupils dilated, and his throat felt like it was glued together. He was nervous and struggled to make a sound. "Uncle Wu, is it a bomb?" "A bomb." Fu Chenjiajun's face was terrifyingly cold and gloomy, his thin lips were straightened into a straight line like a blade, trying to determine where the sound was coming from. "Fifth uncle." Zhang Xiao was very nervous. The car belonged to Zhao Huiyan. How about setting it up for bombing? Does the person who is attacking want to harm Zhao Huiyan, or does he want to harm them? "Fifth master, the sound is from under the car, and the detonation point is on the door. As soon as we open the door, we will be blown to pieces." The person who was driving the car and flying a helicopter said. Fu Jianxiu's black eyes were half squinted, cold air emanating from his body, and the protruding veins on his forehead proved that he was very angry now. "Uncle Wu, my phone is ringing." Zhang Xiaoxiao heard a buzzing sound inside his bag. Fu Jianxiu frowned, opened Zhang Xiaoxi's bag, took out the mobile phone inside, and pressed the answer button. A voice processed by a voice changer sounded in the silent car. "Fu Jianxiu, do you want to live?" "Who are you?" Zhang Xiaoxiao talked to the man with a vibrato in his voice. "Ha ha ha ha." The sound processed by the voice changer came out through the current, and it was really harsh. "Zhang Shi, I will give you a choice now. Do you want Fu Jianxiu to live, or do you want to let yourself live?" The crease between Fu Jianxiu's eyebrows deepened, and his cold voice interrupted the conversation between the man and Zhang Xiaoxi. "What do you want?" "What do you want?" The other end deliberately lengthened the end of the sentence to make it look like he was thinking. Zhang Xiao listened to the conversation on the phone with her whole body tensed up, and she could know exactly where they were. This person must have planned and premeditated it, and she felt that that person was targeting her. The person on the other end of the phone was silent for a while before speaking. "I want Mrs. Fu, can you give it to Fu Jianxiu?" "That's all," Fu Jianxiu said coldly. "Of course it's more than that. Not only do I want Mrs. Fu, I also want Zhang Shi's life." When he said the last sentence, even his processed voice was a bit ferocious. Fu Jianxiu's face was covered with frost, and his body was full of anger that could burn someone. He said sharply, "Zhou Yuling." Zhang Xiaoxiu's black eyes trembled. "Zhou Yuling? It was Zhou Yuling who put the bomb in the car? If it's Zhou Yuling, then she doesn't have to think about it. There is definitely no chance of survival today. Zhou Yuling is a typical person who destroys things if they don't get them. I'm afraid she's not normal either." Fu Jianxiu saw through the other party, so he simply didn't use the transformer. "Brother Fu, I don't want anything from the Fu family. I just want you to leave Zhang Xiaoxiao and be with me, okay? I love you, I really do, I love you so much," Zhou Yuling confessed affectionately. However, when Zhang Xiaoxiao heard her words, his back was numb. "Who would dare to accept this kind of person who will destroy you if I can't get you?" This reminded her of a joke on the internet. "Is the handsome guy in love? The kind that kills?" "I didn't expect you to be so confused," Fu Jianxiu answered her in a calm voice. but Zhou Yuling is a madman with a sharp voice. Brother Fu, why? Why can't you like me? It's good that she had me when she was little. I've been with you for 10 years, and the time is no shorter than hers. Why can't you look at her? I love you more than her, why don't you look at me? End of this chapter.